Today, we're going to uncork a pretty amazing story. It's all about science, identity, and just sheer resilience. We're talking about a grape variety that, you've probably never heard of, but trust me, it's completely rewriting the rules for winemaking in Brazil. So let's get into it. This is the hero's journey of a grape called BRS Bibiana.
So here's the big question that was bugging Brazilian winemakers for decades. We all know that European grapes, the Vitis vinifera, they're the foundation for pretty much all the world's most famous wines. But in Brazil, they just struggled. I mean, they had a hard time just surviving, let alone thriving. And that challenge, that's what really set the stage for a solution that is uniquely Brazilian.
Okay, so to really get why this grape is such a hero, we've got to understand the battlefield, right? Let's dive into the climate itself, because that's what makes this whole story so fascinating. I want you to just imagine trying to grow really delicate grapes inside a subtropical sauna. Seriously, that's pretty much the reality in Brazil's Serra Gaúcha region. You've got this constant, sticky humidity, and it's basically a paradise for fungal diseases, things like downy mildew and gray rot. For those classic European grapes, the Vitis vinifera, this kind of environment can be absolutely devastating. It can just wipe out a whole vineyard.
All right, so how do you fight back against a climate like that? Well, this is where it gets really cool. Let's look at how Brazilian researchers basically engineered a hero grape specifically for this fight. And look, the goal here wasn't just to find something that could survive. No way. It was about creating a grape that could actually excel.
And the answer they came up with? It's a technique with a fancy name. Interspecific hybridization. But what does that really mean? Well, researchers at Embrapa, that's Brazil's big agricultural research agency, they basically said, okay, if the perfect grape for our climate doesn't exist, we're just going to have to invent it. The plan was to take different grape species and combine all their best traits into one super grape.
So let's look at BRS Bibiana's family tree. This was a really strategic cross. On one side, you've got BRS Lorena. That's another successful hybrid, and it's known for having this really intense, beautiful aroma. Then, on the other side, they used an experimental grape that was basically a tank. It had incredible disease resistance and showed a ton of potential for making high-quality wine. You can see what they were doing, right? They were trying to create a true super grape.
And you know what? It worked. The results were just a stunning success. The grape they created, BRS Bibiana, is a total champion in the vineyard. I mean, look at this list of superpowers. It's got high resistance to downy mildew, powdery mildew, good resistance to gray rot, and acid rot. These are the exact diseases that make life so hard in the Serra Gaúcha. And what that means is farmers can grow it with way fewer chemical sprays, which makes it a much more sustainable choice for everyone.
Okay, so it's one thing to have superpowers out in the vineyard, right? But the real test for any hero grape is what happens inside the winery. So let's see how winemakers take this tough little grape and turn it into a really beautiful, expressive wine. The whole philosophy here is all about one thing: preservation. You want to keep all that great character the grape has. So first, the grapes are pressed really gently. The goal is just to get the purest juice, none of the bitter stuff from the skins. Then, the fermentation happens at cool temperatures. This is key because it locks in all those delicate, beautiful aromas. And finally, you won't find any oak barrels here. It's all aged in stainless steel to keep the wine super bright, fresh, and all about that primary fruit.
Yes, so this is definitely not a wine you're supposed to stick in a cellar for 10 years. BRS Bibiana is all about celebrating the now. It's made to be super vibrant, really aromatic, and you're meant to drink it young, within 1 to 3 years, when all those incredible fresh fruit and floral notes are just popping.
So, after all that special care in the vineyard and in the winery, you end up with a wine that has a truly unique profile. So what does our hero grape actually taste and smell like? Well, let's just say you might need to forget everything you thought you knew about Brazilian wine.
Okay, get ready for this. The first thing that just jumps out of the glass at you is this explosion of tropical fruit. We're talking a really vibrant, dominant note of passion fruit, or maracujá. It just instantly takes you somewhere tropical.
Right behind that, you get this wave of sweet, ripe pineapple, abacaxi. It adds this whole other layer of richness.
And then, woven through all of that fruit are these beautiful, delicate hints of white flowers, flores brancas. Think jasmine or acacia. It just gives the wine this really elegant, perfumed lift. It's amazing.
So if you're trying to find a reference point for this, the closest thing is probably Sauvignon Blanc, especially one from a warmer climate. You'll find some of those same citrusy notes.
But here's the key difference. BRB's Bibiana goes way heavier on the lush tropical fruit, and that floral character we just talked about, it's so much more distinct. It's kind of like familiar, but at the same time totally exotic.
And hey, it's not just me saying this. The experts are really starting to take notice. You'll hear sommeliers talk about it as a fascinating grape, one that really invites you to discover what makes Brazilian terroir so unique. This is absolutely a wine with a story to tell.
So a unique taste is great and all, but how does it actually perform on the dinner table? Let's talk about what food to pair with it, and maybe more importantly, who are the pioneers actually making this stuff?
Okay, because of its bright acidity and fresh profile, this wine is incredibly versatile with food. It is a total slam dunk with seafood. I mean, think grilled white fish, shrimp, ceviche. It's perfect. It's also brilliant with the delicate flavors of sushi and sashimi, and it absolutely sings next to light meals like fresh salads, veggie quiches, and even some of those delicate, subtly spiced Asian dishes like Vietnamese food. Now, you should know this is still a pretty niche grape, so you might have to look for it, but there's a really dedicated group of wineries that are championing it. You're going to want to look for names like Buffon, Casa Satis, and Vinicola Canelli. These are the producers who really believed in this grape from the get-go, and they're making some of the most exciting versions of it out there.
All right, let's wrap this up by zooming out and looking at the bigger picture. Because honestly, BRS Bibiana isn't just another new grape variety. It's a really powerful symbol of where the entire Brazilian wine scene is headed.
Think about it. This grape represents so much. It's about innovation, solving a local problem with smart local science. It's about sustainability because it needs fewer chemicals to thrive. And maybe most importantly, it's helping Brazil finally carve out its own unique identity in the world of wine. It's a move away from just trying to imitate European styles and towards celebrating something that is authentically, unapologetically Brazilian.
So the big question remains, is BRS Bibiana the grape that's finally going to put Brazil on every single wine map out there? Well, it's definitely a powerful contender. It's a hero that was born from a huge challenge, and it offers a taste you just can't find anywhere else. It is undeniably Brazilian. But the only real way to know for sure is to go find a bottle yourself and become part of the discovery.